Welcome, everybody, to this week's Take Charge of Your Life discussion. Here we talk about how to live healthy, uh, live empowered, and live free. I'm one of your hosts, Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. I'm a mindset trainer and personal transformation guide. And this is my co-host, Roberta.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am a holistic health practitioner and a personal transformation specialist, and just really passionate about helping people transform in every area of their life. So, mind, body, and soul transformation. And yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yeah. So how this works, if you haven't joined us yet for one of our discussions, we're both elite mentorship trainers certified under our esteemed mentor. His name is Peter Sage. He is a world-renowned behavior expert and a guru from the UK who trained under Tony Robbins, if you know who he is. And so every week, what we try to do is offer a short little snippet of one of his teachings, and then we're going to discuss it and give you our tips and interpretation of that in our format, which is to give you something about how to live empowered, your mind, how to live healthy with your body and your physical being, and then how to live free, which is our version of your soul, mind, body, and soul wellness is what our goal is here.
So yeah, we have Peter's 60-second video, and it is called "Wealth is the Perception of Abundance." And let me share my screen.
When it comes to an area people destroy themselves in, it's often related to money and the concept of abundance. I see so many people that have a scarcity consciousness, a poverty mindset, trying to make more money and wondering why it never happens. And the late great Wayne Dyer said something profound. He said that abundance is not something you acquire, it's something you tune into. Think about that for a second, because what came up for me was the understanding that abundance and wealth is nothing more than the perception of plenty. It's the perception of abundance triggered by gratitude. You cannot have a scarcity mindset when you're being grateful. But you can also have people that have what you perceive to be a lot of money that are living a pretty crappy life because they're still not happy. In other words, some people are so poor, all they have is money. When it comes to an area people
So when we put that in terms, first of all, of mindset, we're really talking about, how we think. And Peter did a good job there in talking about abundance being a perception, which immediately gets rid of what most of us have as a limiting belief, which is worthiness. Okay. And if it's something that we can tune into and not something we have to earn, okay, therefore, how do we do that? Well, if we start in our mind, we need to think about what we're saying to each other, to ourselves. So in the most simplest and, example that I'm sure lots of us can relate to is saying things like, I can't afford this. When you go to buy something, you're limiting yourself. Your perception is that you can't, kind of like we've been talking about in some of the other videos. Whereas instead, it should be a choice. Whereas, I have money and I am abundant and I choose to spend my money on these things based on what my priorities are.
Yeah, I think when I think of a mindset of abundance, I had a extreme scarcity mindset for most of my life, and just, feeling very limited, very small, very undeserving, I guess, really when it comes right down to it. It was that I disqualified myself from abundance because my mindset was I didn't deserve it or I didn't need it. And expanding on that mindset, and really, even when my kids were being raised, I lived very limited, but I at least had an awareness to say, like Tish was saying, not to say I can't afford it. I would always tell my children, if it's meant to be, we'll make a way. I tried to leave it open to possibilities, but now, as we've done this work for the last few years, especially, just a whole new model of the world around money and abundance, when truly everything around us has abundance. Whether it's nature, just the technology of the world and the constant, you think of an idea and it's already created, like you can purchase it online. It's just amazing. Like food, there's an abundance of options for food. There's just unlimited abundance everywhere we look. And so we all get to partake of that if we choose to. And it's not like just if I believe hard enough, it'll happen. It truly is like we live in an abundant universe that we can participate in and partake in, like Tish said. And it's just a whole different way of living, a whole more relaxed and enjoyable way of living, to not be stuck in a mindset of limited, around finances. That's the area that people, like Peter said, destroy themselves in more than any area, and even relationships, right? The number one complaint in intimate relationships is, fighting over money. So it's a big area to really create a new mindset around.
I like what you said there as far as abundance of technology, because if you kind of put that and money together, it makes it a little bit easier. Before, when money was physical and something that you actually handed to each other and traded off when we worked more in cash, it felt more like a limited thing because you only had so much. You could see it. You had this many dollars. Now that it's digital, it just seems too easy, right? I just like tap and well, bam, I have more. Or every Friday, more money just shows up into my account, or there's a deposit here for this, etc. So it makes that mindset, I feel like, easier in the world that we're living in when we talk about technology and just how everything is digital. It's just numbers on a spreadsheet. Like, how easy is that to change the numbers on a screen instead of actually counting out your coins like you did sort of back in the day.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's really true. That's a powerful mindset shift. Hopefully, we're all shifting more towards an abundance mindset in the right way, in a way that truly meets our deepest needs, not just, like Peter said, even though you can have a lot of money and still be miserable, but, that we think of abundance more than just money.
when we think of it in terms of happiness too, because you said that some people are abundant or have lots of money, but aren't happy and still are therefore, really what he would consider poor.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's a good reminder when we're talking about empowering mindsets that happiness, along with abundance and gratitude, those are all choices that we have. Our attitude is something we have 1,000% control over in this world of how we think, how we talk, like we're, touching on and suggesting in this part of our talk. We get to choose how we want to do that. And, you may come with some already predetermined programming, like we talk about a lot in our discussions, but at some point you get to choose. At some point you get to say, okay, am I going to stay with this or am I going to move forward? And I know for me and some work that I've had to do through that, because I thought that money originally was dirty. I felt like wanting more made me greedy. It
Mhm.
came with like any negative connotation. And I have done a lot of personal work over the last few years to really change that and shift that within myself, to realize that, wanting more for my family and really ultimately wanting to give more, to have more of an impact on the world, to be able to support the things that I believe in more so, it is not a negative thing. And I can't take it from anyone else either. That, especially in this digital world, if money is abundance and things are abundant and there's unlimited amounts in the world, and the governments are certainly making that very clear when they just literally print more of it. Then I'm not taking from anyone else. I can drop that negative belief and move forward in, wanting for myself, not from a sense of greed, but from a sense of joy and desire to not only contribute to my own family and my own personal wealth, but also to those around me in my community. And like I said, the things that I believe in, that I want to empower to also be stronger.
Yeah, so true. I think of that too, that, there's no limit. There's not a pie and there's only so much, there's definitely an unlimited amount. And it's not about being greedy, like you said, or getting it for my sake. I too have a lot of visions for, how I can serve and help other people with resources. So it's just part of being in the world. And it's a privilege to participate in that equation and to become more maybe ethnocentric and wanting to grow and contribute to help others. It just makes sense to align with financial. It just expands our opportunity to do that.
Well, our last talk was about how money is one of the games that you have to play.
Mm.
So we might as well be good at it. I don't know about anybody else, but if I'm going to play a game, I'm going to try at it. I'm going to work at it so that I can be the best that I can.
Yeah, and
Um,
Yeah, and I guess the tip that we were talking about earlier for this was to, to focus on how to be abundant and to really think about the words we're using, because our brain believes everything we tell it. So if we tell ourselves and tell other people and talk about it all day long, how you can't afford all this and bills are coming due and I'm full of fear, then that's really what I'm going to get back from, the universe, I guess, is that what I speak about comes about, what I focus on, I get more of. And so really that just, having that thought about, wow, how can I shift what I'm saying? And sometimes I would think it, but I would choose not to say it. I was training myself to not blurt out these negative beliefs, because if we, what is that? One of Peter's sayings about beliefs: if you fight for your limitations, they're yours, so don't limit ourselves in any area, but especially in our words and what we're speaking out is really critical for the mind.
We reiterated that in our first talk too, when we said complaining is the glue that like keeps you stuck, in the same sort of sense. So say after mindset, that's our empowerment talk in this area as far as abundance goes. Next, we'll move on to health, living healthier, where we really want to stress that when we think about abundance and we decide to have this abundance mindset, that the area of the body, and when it comes to our health, this is an area where we see a lot of people limiting themselves. So, either I don't have enough time to be healthy, I don't have enough time to learn, I don't have enough time to do research or cook healthy meals, or go to the gym for my workouts, etc. So sometimes it's in regards to time that we're limiting ourselves, or knowledge, or money. Again, in the affordability of the things that we need to purchase in order to support our health.
Yeah, and I think of, I think about this all the time because this is my wheelhouse and my passion and my life work, and how people can, make decisions to stay unhealthy or to become more and more unhealthy unconsciously, just, kind of like, well, if I just ignore it, maybe it'll go away. Or saying, like Tish said, I don't have time or I can't afford to be healthy. That's really absolutely not true. I have spent so much time being resourceful, and in this world of abundance and options available, we always have an option. And it doesn't cost more to be sick than it does to be healthy. It just absolutely is not a true, belief system. And so I think of, in my world, I'd love to see people knowing that there is everything's a choice, like Tish said too. And if we don't take time for health, we have to take time for illness. It's part of the binary equation of life. It's kind of the laws of what we live by, the biology laws. If we don't take care of our physiology, it's going to break down. That's just a given. And in our country, we're conditioned to wait till we break down and then scramble to do something about it. And oftentimes people get swept into the pharmaceutical path and side effects and ongoing, never really resolving it, and that leads down to some tremendous suffering for people and loss. And it's really quite simple to be able to heal ourselves and to take care of ourselves. And especially with the work I do, as far as giving a very strategic and focused plan for people to make sure their body has all the nutrients they need every day, that nutritional profile, and simplifying it, being clear on the food sensitivities and what the body can become healthier on, and what they're, what's taking out our health. So there's just a very specific and strategic way to make that a very common and simple way of being this health dynamic. So yeah, I've always encouraged people to just get, be more open-minded, to focus on knowing that your health is if you want a healthy, abundant, vibrant life, that health has to be a priority, and just shifting our priorities around so that we can, take care of our body and our health, just like we do everything else in our life, and, in a budgeting it out every month to make sure that we're taking care of that specific area, which should be our most important asset, really, if we want health and we want to raise our children to have health so they can live, 90 to 100 years in a healthy body. That's pretty important.
Yeah, I found that over the years, in kind of having that discussion, especially when it comes to just food and, affordability, those kinds of things in order to be healthy, that, the processed foods and the things that aren't so great for you, that are in the middle, that seem really convenient in having it. However, I find they don't fill you up. So the argument is that yes, this box of cereal might only be, $2 or $3, whatever it is. So for those of you that don't know, I'm in Canada, so our money's not worth as much as Roberta's there in the US, but we do have similar mindset as far as the healthcare after fact reactive method. But anyway, in sort of like boxes of cereal. But you know what? My son, if I think about my 13-year-old son, he could eat probably that entire box of cereal and it not be filling because you know what? There's really the box said it had fiber in it, but it was like this tiny little amount versus what I could give him some protein and some hard like actual food that I got from the outside that seems a little bit more expensive because the chicken breast that I'm getting isn't as or seems smaller than the box of cereal for potentially the same price for just one. But he's only eating one of those, and then he's good for a few hours. It's not just blowing through his system, and then never even mind the emotional effects and all the other things that kind of come through that. My point of contention lately is even pancakes. We've been having pancake breakfasts with the families on Sundays. That's one of the things that we like to do, and I've slowly been playing with that recipe where people are like, how can you make pancakes from scratch? And I was like, honestly, the box versus the actual ingredients that go into it, it's like 2 extra scoops
Yeah.
because the dry ingredients, you're still adding the wet ingredients anyway, and the dry ingredients are like flour and baking powder. Like that's it. And when I can make it from scratch, I can add things. So, you know what? We've been calling them green pancakes, but it's protein powder that we're putting in and replacing some of that white flour in some of our pancakes. And the kids don't notice. They're yummy. And they actually, I think, kind of like that they're a little bit have that green health tinge to it. So sometimes it's really simple things. And it's just about looking for that again, kind of shifting that mindset and changing your belief to really empower yourself that there is abundance everywhere and everything that we want, whether it be taking care of our body or funds or, more time in our day, there is always a way to sort of reprioritize that so that we can live our healthiest and best lives.
Yeah, and I always tell people it takes way more time, money, and effort to be sick and to have a disease, to spend your whole life then running to doctors and trying to take care of all these issues is way more complicated, costly, and, detrimental. And it's just not a joyful way to live. Taking care of our health in the moment, gives us that opportunity to live empowered, in this realm of health and vitality. So yeah, there's no equation there that compares to living truly healthy. I think people are so conditioned and programmed by the culture and by the industry that it's easier just to ignore your health and then cross your fingers and hope it never breaks down. It's a very disempowering way to live when you can live so much better. So yeah, I want to encourage people. And I guess the tip that we had for that was, to focus on more of the abundance mindset around, living healthy and taking care of our health is a meditation called guided abundance meditation. And it's by the late, great Bob Proctor, who is someone who was very much a mentor in mindset training and empowerment and abundance. And so we'll just attach that to this video so people can click on it and watch. It's very relaxing, very expanding. So just kind of help our minds to just get out of that limitation, focus and expand and think about how abundant we can be and what we have in our lives.
Excellent. Yeah, because when we talk about our health and this is our body kind of format, right? We're talking about mind and body, and there's so much of a connection there that meditation is really just such a great way to both train our mind and our thought process, but also be able to sit in our body and just take a few minutes to recognize, where we're at. And people have cured themselves in those ways. So meditation, this is a great little introduction that goes in our theme of abundance. And we really encourage you guys to try a meditation practice.
Yeah, the third area then is our live free. It's our soul area. And, we're born worthy and majestic and infinitely abundant, like we talked about. It's not like, I've been a very spiritual person, and for years thinking that there was something outside of me that I had to please in order to get what I desired, what my heart desires. And I just have such a different mindset around that now, that I'm not trying to appease an angry God or to prove that I'm doing enough good things for him or her to bless me. It's more of I believe that, the desires that are put in my heart, I believe, come from source energy in the first place, the creator of, whoever created me, because the things I love and the things that I think would be enjoyable, and traveling and adventure, whatever it is, living out in nature, those desires were put there by my creator. So why wouldn't that, infinite intelligence want me to have those things? And so really just that freedom to know that I'm worthy, and that I'm deserving, and that there's a friendly universe that wants to bless us and give us this abundant lifestyle. And like we talked about earlier, not for wrong purposes, but actually to expand and help everyone around us, including ourselves and our families.
Yeah. Part of my growth has been really sort of understanding again that we are worthy, like you said, that all of these things are out here for the taking for us. These are gifts. All we have to do is accept them. We are infinitely abundant. Our lives truly are unlimited in their potential. And so when we talk about aligning with that, as Peter did suggested, or tuning in, I guess we're really talking about being in that vibration of abundance and understanding the majestic of yourself, of that uniqueness of what we have an opportunity to acquire within our lives, or I guess really tune into and therefore receive, just by allowing ourselves to receive it and not putting up any blocks with those limiting beliefs or suggestions otherwise, and thinking that we're unworthy. And one of the best ways that I have listened to many different discussions and mentors talk about is tuning into gratitude, because you cannot be upset or scarcity if you are in gratitude. And we all can sit down in even the smallest things. And this has been one of huge eye-opening practices in my life, because it's funny, the more we talk about a lot, how the more you look for it, the more you get of things. And I find myself now constantly throughout the day being like, oh, this is something I want to like write down. This is something I want to remember. And it can just be tiny little moments, for example, my stepson today, we're watching a movie, and we're watching the Mighty Ducks, for anyone that has seen that movie, with the old school Emilio Estevez and his little hockey team. And he starts out not really the nicest person, and then eventually we see a few clips of him being better, and of Charlie and his dad. And the little boy turned around and was like, oh, he's a good dad, like you're a good dad. Just warming your heart moments where you realize that you're seen, and there is so much love in our lives that we can be grateful for, as well as so many other things. So gratitude is how you align your spirit with this abundance mindset and abundance of things that are in the world and available to us.
Yeah, and so our tip for this is to, do a gratitude journal every day. Someone told me this like 12 years ago. I started getting involved in different 12-step program work, and the very first thing my sponsor said was, to do a gratitude journal. And at first it seemed like, well, that doesn't seem like a very, thorough big solution for my big problems. But I was willing to, I was miserable enough that I was willing to do what I was asked in the program to get the results. And yeah, it's truly almost magical how it can shift. And it's not just mentally forcing myself to say, oh, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my car, but to do something that I really feel grateful for. Even if I have to go back and say, I'm grateful for the day my children were born, I'm grateful for, having heat this winter when it's, 40 below wind chill, and really align with something that you really feel grateful for, not just a head knowledge. And that it's really simple, like Tish said, and it definitely shifts us in the moment when we really get into that authentic feeling of gratitude. And of course, if we're grateful, we're going to get more of what we're grateful for. So it's a win-win all around.
I like that. That's a good tip, that there is always something that we can be grateful for. And the big things are definitely where I started as well. Well, I'm grateful to be alive, when I didn't really know what I was doing in this sort of gratitude practice. And the more you practice, the more you see, the more you get, and it gets easier. And then you start to see all these tiny little moments that are just inspiring and heart filling things that you're able to be grateful for. So we encourage you to do some kind of gratitude practice. Writing it down definitely helps. And one of the things that I like is that if you write it down and create like a big giant list, you can look back. So on those days where, that are a little bit rougher, you can go through your entire gratitude list for the week, the month, the year, even depending on how much you need of a pick me up to realize that, it looks kind of maybe a little bit dark right here in this moment, but here's all of the good that I can be grateful for. And I know there is more coming.
Yeah. And, what else was I thinking about? The abundance thing and the gratitude, I think is just that, there's so much to be grateful for. When our mentor, Peter Sage, who just came back from a 3,000-mile row across the Atlantic, the last words he said before their boat took off was, "There's always something to be grateful for." And yeah, so no matter, he was in prison for a season through some fluke of the court system, and just he could flip anything into gratitude. It's just incredible when we have that mindset. There's nothing that life can bring us that we can't find a gift in it, and that's what I think about when I think of gratitude.
Awesome. So if we wanted to sort of summarize that, our discussion today is really about abundance and how that leads you to wealth in so many areas, more than just money. And our Live Empowered tip is to become aware of the language you're using, start replacing that scarcity, limited words and language with abundant ones. Another example in that area is sort of like, I desire to be healthier. I want more of these things in my life is a great way instead of shooting on yourself sometimes. And then under live healthy, it's the meditation that we recommend. Start working that mind and body together in an abundant viewpoint and aligning yourself more so that when you get to your live free gratitude journal practice tip here, that you are fully able to feel the gratitude of the things that have happened for you in this world and where abundance lives daily in your life.
Yeah, thanks, Tish, for recapping all that. And the quote that we wanted to leave you with was Wayne Dyer's, that said that abundance is not something I acquire, but something I tune into. And so just knowing that we are abundant, it's not something that we have to accumulate or earn or prove ourselves in. It's already given to us, and to just kind of rest in that and enjoy that mindset and that concept, because it's absolutely true.
So thank you for tuning in to our discussion today. We hope you feel empowered and you are ready to take charge of your life and live, more healthy, more free, and more empowered. Stay tuned. This is, just in case you're just tuning in and you caught this one for the first time, this is our number 5 discussion, I believe. 6?
6 or
6,
7.
I think.
6 or 7,
yeah. So feel free to look for those other ones if you're enjoying this, and we welcome any kind of comments or feedback.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.